Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ and I'm the host, and today's video is a spoiler review for the new Marvel animation series on Disney Plus, Eyes of Wakanda episode 2 spoiler review. If you have not seen this, pause this, and could you do me a favor before you go watch this amazing series? Hit that thumbs up button on this particular video. That would help my YouTube channel out, and I truly appreciate it if you did that. Come back and let me know what you think about Eyes of Wakanda episode 2 in the comments below. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off with a group of Trojan soldiers getting ready to attack and bust open the gate. And we see Achilles and Mimos, who is a Wakanda war dog, who is basically a spy on a mission to retrieve an amulet that belongs to the Wakandas. And the battle gets overwhelming as Achilles and Mimos and the rest of the soldiers retreat because it wasn't really planned out and they kind of failed, which makes sense. And what's really interesting is I don't know how historically accurate this episode is to the Trojan story about, they giving up a peace treaty and saying, okay, look, we're going to make them a fake gift. We're going to sneak in there and then, we're going to ambush them, right? I don't know how accurate it is in the Marvel's Eyes of Wakanda, so I don't really know. But if you watch like movies like Troy or anything that relates to it, you'll get the idea of it. Because, in this, what's really interesting, the twist of this is Mimos and Achilles' friendship. They're like best friends, but we see that they're foreshadowing a betrayal by mentioning coins putting over Achilles' eyes, and we see that Achilles trusts his Mimos, but the other soldiers don't. And again, like, this is the idea of like Achilles has no idea that Mimos is a Wakandan war dog who's a secret spy. And of course, the whole point is to do the historical thing that Achilles has done with these soldiers. But this time we're looking through the eyes of Wakanda. That's why it's called the Eyes of Wakanda. And what I liked about this is the graphics on this reminds me of the Disney movie Hercules. The way the animation is put together. And I don't know why Mimos has that LeBron James look, but he does. Like, he's clean cut. And I thought that was pretty interesting as well. But I just love how everything was drawn out. And we know that Mimos reports to the Wakandan, and he, with like a little technology, like a code to let them know, like, hey, I'm getting closer to getting what belongs to the Wakandas, which is this amulet that is literally made out of vibranium, the same material that made Captain America's shield. Ugh. So we see that, and they get ready to go in there, and it's just like the Achilles story, where they're in that little horse Troy, and they wait till everybody gets drunk, the enemy's drunks, and they ambush them. And we see everybody firing. Then we see Memo sneaks off, and he gets the amulet, and then when we see later on, Achilles finds out that he's a spy, and we see the two fight. And for this amulet, and this is where it gets serious. Memos has to tells Achilles, like, this is not worth it. What you're about to do is not worth it. Achilles is saying, I'm going to take this amulet and I'm going to share this power with everybody. That's a no-no to the Wakandans, because if the Wakandas do not want nobody outsiders to use their technology, they're the ones with the vibranium, right? Like, they're the original people who grew and took over the vibranium, even though it came from like outer space, which that's a whole different story, which I hope they touch upon on in life someday in the MCU of Marvel. Now, they fought, and of course, Memos ends up stabbing him, and Achilles is put to death with the 2 coins on his eyes. And Memos asks to be, later on, he's back in Wakanda. And what's really interesting is Memos has grown attached to the outside world. Like, it's very hard. And it kind of reminds me of like any type of soldier, military soldier. Sometimes it's tough for them to be a civilian, live a regular life. How do you live back in your home country and just live a regular life? And that's where this shows with And he just asked to be back in the field, which, he starts working for Nani, who's a little bit older in this. So I thought that was really cool. And he goes out and he collects everything that needs to be collected. So I honestly love that about that series. Is episode 2 to me is showcase how much Wakanda is, no matter what era, no matter what year, no matter where in the MCU timeline, and how well protected Wakanda is. Their stuff some way somehow gets stolen or given away, because we see that their technology is being sold because some of these war dogs enjoy being outside of Wakanda because they are enjoying their pretend life. It reminds me of the Black Widow movie, where all these girls, like Natasha and Yelena, they aren't real sisters, but they had to pretend to be a family because it was their job in the Black Widow cult, right? And it's just kind of like that. It's just, this one's a little bit nicer about it. And so it really, it's showing us the Wakandas, as far as battle strategies, the way of living. Other European countries have tried to emulate this in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So let me just give you 3 Easter eggs that I found in episode 2, starting with number 1. Memon uses a telescope just like the Lion did in episode 1. It's made out of vibranium from Wakanda technology. And, it's not like a regular telescope. This thing can zoom in like today's camera phones, whether it's a Droid, iPhone, or whatever camera you use, like high quality. But the quality of this is really good. And you can spy on people from for long distance, and they use it just to see what they're looking for. Fact number 2 for Easter eggs is Memo uses vibranium to heal his wounds, just like T'Challa did on Ross in the Black Panther movie. So even then, back then in the Trojan era, Wakanda's technology and medicine were really high advanced. And then number 3, legends and lies. So this is the truth and the lie. This episode's whole theme was to do a mixture of, like, historically, they use like what the story of Troy and Achilles was about, but they also use what has been told in folktale stories as well, in mythology, because obviously in the MCU you have the mighty Thor, god of thunder, and Loki, the god of the multiverse or timeline, whatever, I forgot what they call it, but it's one of those, right? So these are gods basically. And what's really interesting about that is they never really were clear if Achilles was a god like Thor in this universe in the MCU. I would have to assume so because Hercules is in the MCU, just like Thor and Loki. So I gotta assume that Achilles is a god, and his weakness was his Achilles. But it was really interesting. Mimos literally shanked him, and he died. So I don't know if he was all human or not, or we never knew that he had many other weaknesses. So who knows? But I thought that was a pretty interesting fact. But other than that, this was a great episode. And if I had to give this one as well a 1 out of 10, this one's another 10 out of 10. This one was a banger. Like, it had a really good plot story, a lot of action in it, and it showed you a different perspective view of how this story was told through a spy, basically. And you just seeing like the war dogs do these missions for all these years is nuts. And the Wakandans hide some of this history so other future generation do not get expired, but obviously that has failed as well. So I really like the idea of like this type of issue has been going on through years and years from different generations in Wakanda. So I like that. But that is my spoiler review, everyone. Thank you so much, guys. Please, please, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.